plenty of contention coming through. But again, don't forget, in this mode, this isn't the only place to get powers. They drop all over on floor loop. They pop out of chests. So you can already see Rayad sitting on the Silver Surfer board. He also has the rare pump as well as an epic LMG and AR to be able to pressure close here. His partner, Vertex Sterna, on the outside. They're going to get a knock right away on the ESP Dove and get the conversion to try and get the additional siphon. Again, we do have the arena rules coming through with some slight alterations in the form of the mats that are dropped and the mat caps. However, the siphon HP will still go over and you get 5 points per each elimination. So right now, already seeing 5 plus the 1 from 5 duos already dropping.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that you're familiar with as well. It's like the way, same kind of play style, the same kind of mechanics, especially in-game. Like you mentioned, the mats are going to be limited, the vehicles are disabled, motorboats have been disabled. And as well, the big factor is there's going to be multiple superpowers, Marvel powers, throughout the entire island that you could stack.
In Asia overnight during round 2, Storm Surge ended up being a factor. However, we can anticipate in Europe a little bit more aggression coming out from there as Stenna right now sees the box double Unibeam. We talked about it right away, and Dovin on the receiving end of that. So going to get rebooted only to get sent right back down, and that's the problem with getting stuck and bogged out in an early fight. Good punish, good coordination right away. Can they end up closing it out? A 24 white tag, and then the follow-up with the LMG will be the completion there onto planes, and then a huge shot right there. Very well played from Stenna, but he needs to create a little bit more distance because as soon as they have that Unibeam combo up, as Rayad is able to get Andin, they should be able to combo out this last opponent. Instead, not even going to bother, says, I got that pump shotgun. Sundown going to stick with that. Trying to line up a shot.
That was like a scary moment as all of a sudden you see the Unibeam trajectory coming through. But yeah, I like it. You know, the sound of the effect as well lets you know that you're about to be blasted on. And now Huave now is going back to the Fortnite skill mechanics, gets Doxy right there with a kind of cheeky shotgun blast. And now it's a 2v1 situation. And we've been watching Fortnite competitive and duo since 2v1s, it's going to be wrapped up very shortly, especially with these Marvel powers. It's just a moment. Here we go. Bang! Huave sends a big old Unibeam blast and disintegrates the competition easy.
They're going to be happy walking away with the 20 points plus the 1 for placement. Right now, you can see a little bit of blast coming out there from Dr. Doom's Arcane Gauntlets. A good follow-up from the pump right away. Dougie 1x going down, and then he's going to evaluate the Mythic Hall and decide what he wants to take with it.
Hey, yeah, you saw right there, Storm's Whirlwind Blast. That's available. That is something that's going to be a Dark Horse Marvel power. It's the great defensive. It prevents Unibeam, all projectiles. You can actually send back Doom's Mystical Bomb. So I'd be interested to see who gets to pick that up. And more importantly, you could break builds. And if you're in a build fight, you could kind of use that Whirlwind Blast and send someone out with some fall damage. But they're going a little bit in with the old school weapon ways and gets a knock on Krizix. Now, Barty, now, this is where you don't want to be because we all know what's going to happen. Like you mentioned, Sundown, it's Unibeam bait.
And now quite literally stuck between a rock and a hard place as the shakedown comes down. Zaryax and the rock going to know exactly where that opponent is. Again, going to be able to evaluate the Mythic Loot, see what goes on there. Not going to opt to swap it up. Again, that Epic Pump, kind of the bread and butter for most competitive players. The one-shot opportunity offered from it, incredibly strong, but you already see the Silver Surfer board being used. But then Dr. Doom's Arcane Gauntlets using the nice little float and fly to close the gap right away, knowing the cooldown won't get him out of there. And Zaryax puts him in a blender. Barty's going to go back to lobby and queue back up there.
Yeah, and when we were playing the Marvel Knockout LTM, when I was playing it, where I earned the Venom outfit by being top 250, I don't know, with
small flex,
with subtle thick flex with Clay Staley. So right now you see Ray and User, they only have Groot's Bramble Shield. That is a kind of recovery or a defensive thing. Is not going to be really strong offensively, so they're going to have to rely on their Fortnite skills. And with a nice barrel stuff right there from Ray, now Ray is only having his partner User down to the sliver of HP, but time is going to be a factor considering this is a good old-fashioned on-edge storm fight.
And again, we've talked about it not wanting to get bogged down in fights. If anybody is able to see this, they'd be able to Unibeam. But checking in the bottom right-hand corner, nobody in range right now. So right now, the Storm is going to be what the pressure is. And User with very low HP is actually going to end up ticking over. So while they will get the revive there, no, instead he's actually going to utilize the regen coming out from that Bramble and saying, hey, we got the fight right when we needed it. If the other team had been able to keep a little bit of pressure, it wouldn't have mattered. But
We'll see who's going to be able to have inventory. I mean, we could break down the minutia of things like that, but I think the teams that are going to be so successful is the ones that can be really creative. Bang! Double beam. Noms gets disintegrated unexpectedly. You got to be careful. Those simple mechanics of you boxing up out in the open, it's not safe anymore, brother.
Yeah, you can't box up. You can't get caught off in rotation and let him know that you're unafforded. If you take one singular tag, it puts you in that double unibeam range of being able to take it down there. Lewis going to get the confirmation.
And that is where I see, the Marvel powers being a huge thing. I mean, a big factor with the Bramble Shield, the She-Hulk's Fist, the Wolverine's Claws could hold you on closer. But FN Lewis is relying on the Unibeam in some great way to initiate the engagement as a spear. But as you're seeing, there's a lot of arrows around the distance, and you got to be wary, as you got to be careful because the Unibeam could come in. So I agree with you, Sundown. You got to build a big mega base so the people have to guess where you are when they're initiating that Unibeam blast. But hey, there's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned legendary pump, you know what I'm saying? It gets the job done.
It's not quite a mythic weapon, but in some circumstances, it definitely feels like it when it's right on top of you, hitting those body shots as well as the headshots. But Reese Hub, one of the casters and analysts coming out from the FNC, has talked about how strong sitting in a bush is. Well, Larice says, surprise, see you sticking out there. You can see if you do aim down sights in a bush, a little bit of your barrel will stick out. Now they're going to begin to spray and try and close the gap. You note, Larice opting not to carry any of the Marvel powers right now. Dezino going to clean up right away on that instant knock. They're going to be able to confirm onto both of them. 2 elims going over, and we'll see what they opt to carry with them now as shockwaves are available.
As Felix and Freda are having an ultimate gatekeeping opportunity here on the north side of the safe zone at Coral Castle. Gonna do a nice chase down here, and that person is just trying to fight for this match lives. Quavery unable to utilize any kind of mobility. I mean, he did have the Silver Surfer, but he did use it to vault over the waterfall. So when it's being stuck on the cooldown, it's something we got to talk about as well. Managing cooldowns, which is a new layer into, let's just, you know what? I just love Fortnite. They're like, but not so fast. And Unibeam could disintegrate all of it in one blast. And that's going to be interesting to see how it goes down. But now we're just seeing a great mixture of traditional play and a lot of mistakes happening. People leaving up their edits. And I think sometimes it could be overwhelming and a little bit scary to hear Unibeam going off. And now you have Thor's Mjolnir coming in. And that's a nice disappearing act with that use of the Silver Sword. And oh my goodness, I like what I'm seeing here from Sniping a Custo.
Kind of similarities to some older Fortnite weapons going through. It's the Junk Rift, Sancho.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's the Thor hammer
yeah.
coming directly down from the sky. It's just so hard to combat against. But right now, Sipe using all of his tools with a nice little jump shot there with the epic pump. And they also pulled that 5th zone, the half in, half out. So you can expect them to try and get whatever excess resources possible and kind of expand out their base because players are going to begin rotating into them as we're going to rotate on over to Shagrin and Cullum. On to Rayox as well. That's their 4th elimination, 47 points so far. And again, don't forget, every single duo that drops is an additional placement point coming through and a great double shotgun coming out there. We talk about the combos. Well, sometimes it's just all about the weaponry and the gun skill as they own a bunch of this space. Good wall replace as well. Got the wall replace on the inside. They're trying to force everyone to kind of rotate through this building. Unibeam comes out, not quite going to find a target. Instead, opens one up. Shagrin says, no, this is too dicey for me. Silver Surfer boards out, but not quite going to necessarily find the space that he wants, and only down to 2 mats now, Sancho.
And you got to be dangerous using Unibeam on that low ground. You may bring a lot more competitors than you expect. Now the rotation is going to go north onto the beach side of things of Sweaty Sands. It is the 7th zone. Shagrin and Cullum, we've been seeing by being on this low ground to mid ground level, you could rack up a lot of elims here because a lot of people are going to be in shambles. The interesting question is, what's it going to look like with the Marvel powers in play? We already saw a couple competitors drop Thor's hammer, and we all know that could be a big factor. Buggy here, having the Silver Surfboard as well as Groot's Bramble is in a tough spot. Now it's going to go solo. Can he clutch and rack up those unnecessary points? And you're hearing Unibeam going off left and right. It is 9 players, 8 players left, 5 placements left here, Sundown.
But it pulled back. The zone pulled back. So while everyone else was on the front end of the zone and just getting put into a blender by Cole of 1, 2, 3, 4 elims going off from him there real quick. Buggy all of a sudden now is priority position on everyone else who over-rotated. And you can see him putting the punish in. 1 and 2 elims going into him. And all of a sudden, it goes from top 6 to top 3. And it's a 1v1v1. And Buggy up on the high ground has the epic pump. And right away, rest steal gets knocked off of the wave. Silver Surfer trying to ride to the height, and Buggy back to back slaps down the wannabes. He says, today I am the Silver Surfer. I'm the owner of the high ground, and I'll be taking match number 1 here on the broadcast of the Marvel Super Cup EU region.
Wow, the herald of Galactus, the Marvel power of the Silver Surfboard, ringing true when you all thought it was all said and done. The solo clutch